Hello, this is Jerry,
And Jacob,
and we are two unrelated brothers. Hey, y'all, I just want to let y'all know we have a very dedicated podcaster here. It's Jacob's birthday today, and he's still doing an episode with me, so I just want to say happy birthday to Jacob. Thank you for being here, and I love you, man. Happy 75th birthday.
Thank you very much. Just got done celebrating, a little tired, but you know what? Hey, can never stop the grind. Gotta always be ready to record one. Appreciate it, and don't make fun of me too much for being old. You're not even a month behind me, so
Yeah. Pretty soon I'll be
enjoy it.
75.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Enjoy these working joints.
Exactly.
Well, man, what's today's episode going to be about?
Well, while we're still working on, I guess, getting on a specific schedule with as far as like certain games go and stuff, because I know both of us want to get back on that because I know we enjoy really focusing all our energy on a specific game or a specific series. But I think it's also nice to just kind of like lay back, let loose, and take time to, I guess, just kind of review and talk about what he's been doing specifically this past week overall in gaming.
Yeah,
Whether it's just us messing with a certain game, just like maybe just trying to maybe just looking into what we can do in the future, or just maybe we're just just randomly going to hey, I want to play this game again. Just kind of see where we're at right now, just in our kind of, I guess, everyday lives as far as gaming is concerned.
Yeah, I know we're kind of we're getting into the groove of things. This will be episode. I don't want to put up maybe eight or nine. I think it's eight.
I think it's 8. Yeah, no, 7 was last. Mm-hmm.
So we're still trying to get in the groove of things. We're trying to, come up with broad ideas, but also, like you said, maybe review some games or just talk about some games from our childhood, or even not our childhood. Like recently, I've been playing what is it, the GTA remaster re-release, and excuse me, had to burp real quick, but and so we're still trying to figure out what exactly we're gonna. Retro Game Shop opened up near us, and they have quite a few PS2 titles, so we've been able to buy a couple. Like I know you got you said Psyops, right? You said Psyops and a couple of others, like the Punisher and
oh yeah, same as you, we have a couple of good retro shops next to where I am, and you've always talked about Psyops. That's one of your favorite childhood games, and I saw it available, behind the counter because it's rare, so they don't want them to steal that shit. Wasn't that expensive, I thought, and I just thought, all right, this is something I can get into, and we can maybe review one day.
Yeah, and also you got the Shell Shock, right?
Got Shell Shock. I got a lot of PS3 games since, as much as I love PS2 games, and we will talk about them, man, it's hard with the controls and stuff. So, and with PS3 games, it's still kind of like that, but it's doable. Whereas with PS2, there are just certain games where it's just like, damn, how the hell did we play this back then?
You know what I will say? So I recently bought Area 51, and I tried to play that. Dude, it's like you just barely tap that analog, and you're just flying across the screen. Like you can't get any real good definite aiming. And then also, modern games, especially shooters or a certain genre, always kind of have around the same kind of controls. Like usually in shooters, for instance, your L2 or R2, your L2 is gonna be aiming down the sight, your R2 is gonna be shooting, or for Xbox, your left trigger, right trigger, all that shit. And old games are just totally different. Like I think Shell Shock R2 aim down the sights and an R1 shot, like something really. I was like, what the hell?
And then it's all over the place.
Yeah, that would be a good episode. Is talking about I guess maybe or how maybe gaming controls changed over time. Like I know you were telling me controls kind of changed and
Yeah,
how they are now.
yeah. Like this, so
You
like
know,
this one's gonna be one of our first like kind of our personal weeks, or personal week, or like 2 weeks in
yeah.
review. But because I guess we're kind of in a, I wouldn't say a crossroads, but we're at a certain point now where like we've done some broad ones. We've done we've done our Dead Space reviews. We're kind of at the point now. It's like, all right, we don't want to like use up all our broad or like personal lists ideas. We kind of want to, I guess, dive into certain games or maybe certain topics. Um, but also we don't want to be like too repetitive. We just don't want to talk about like, oh, here's our top 10 favorite stealth games, our top 10 favorite shooter games. Like obviously we'll want to do that, but we don't want to. I know I personally want to kind of stay away from that, just from not being too. I don't want to say it's lazy, but it's a little lower effort. Kind of,
Repetitive too.
yeah, repetitive. That's the word.
Yeah.
We kind of want to branch out, even if it's just something a dumb game. Even if we just played something like fucking Minecraft. And I mean, we're not gonna do that. We might. That's the thing, but that's just an example. Like, whether it's something like an indie game, a co-op indie game, maybe just like a very linear point and click game, a AAA PS4 title, maybe even a PS1 game if we can find those. We always want to try to keep it mixed up. Not only for like the episode's sake, but just for us. We don't just want to always do the same thing, or else we'll get bored of it. We're not going to enjoy it. So I think this episode's more of not only us talking about what we've been doing, but kind of more of just like maybe ideas of what we want to do in the future with the episodes.
It's definitely a free form, episode.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely more free form. I think it'll be it won't be as chaotic as our pilot, but
Jesus Christ! Don't remind
yeah,
me.
I know. I just think about it, I hate it. Like even if this one's a little sloppy, or even just because I'm tired of shit because I'm celebrating my birthday, but or because we don't have like a super like laid out plan. We have a broad idea of what we want to do, and like I said, I think kind of what we've been doing these past games. My fucking cats. What we've been playing these past games in this past week. These games will kind of lead into a broader topic, and I feel like that will kind of feed into like a more structured conversation, and then that will lead into like future or potential ideas of what we want to do next, in regards to like specific games or series.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess let's start off with this week for us. So I would say something kind of special happened between us. Okay, that did not sound good.
No.
So it's been quite a while, and we haven't really. I mean, even though we are the two unrelated brothers, unfortunately, just because of our work schedule and whatnot, we don't really get to play video games that often. Either I'm off when you're working, or vice versa. And so, man, first off, I would just want to talk to what is it? Viscera Cleanup Detail, whoever makes that, Rune, whatever. Y'all need to fix it. Because I was super hyped, so I bought you a copy for like a birthday present.
Yeah.
And we spent what? Oh, no problem. I mean, how long did we spend trying to just get into a match together? Like, I would try to join yours, you would try to join mine, vice versa.
Yeah, we tried to set like an hour and a half trying to make it work.
Yeah, and the whole time, like, I'm kind of playing it, I'm vibing, I like it.
I like it too.
It's super relaxing. I mean, and it's like I should probably be cleaning my house instead of this fucking lab or whatever. But I'm gonna clean up these alien parts. But yeah, it would have been just so much better with you there, teaming up, be like double relaxed, chilling with a friend, cleaning up a horrifying accident. So that didn't work. So then we ended up getting Left 4 Dead. We didn't play that. We played the Forest, right?
I would say, yeah, we couldn't get this to work, so hopefully maybe sometime they'll get cleared up so we can play that, because like you said, that seems definitely like a nice chill and relax game. But we did end up getting the Forest. I had it, then you got it. We played like a little bit, maybe like an hour or two, and
Yeah.
made some decent progress. And even though like it was pretty late, we're old men. It was past our bedtime, but even then, like it was still fun. We had a blast playing it. Just figuring it out, even because I mean, we've heard of it, but we just never tried it, and just kind of going there blind. It was a little intimidating, and just like, oh, is this gonna be good? No, yeah, I like the atmosphere of it, like the vibe of it, and I hope that we're able to play more of it soon, and then that can, obviously lead to its own little episode, like just how, we feel about it, and just how it, just like I said, just an overall review, especially since that could probably be our first game review that we played together.
Yeah, and like you said, you had that game for quite a while, and you just never able to play because you thought maybe it was maybe a good co-op game, or you just, I don't know, maybe it was a little freaky.
It was a little freaky, and it's just, I think it's a typical like Steam thing where you have like 100 games, but you only play like 5 of them. Like I got it on sale, like, oh, this is a $30 game, and it's $5. Shit, I'll get it. And they're like, all right, cool, I got it. Time to play this old ass game.
Yeah. I have a shit ton of games I just haven't even, touched whatsoever. But yeah, that was like, because I've never really gotten to Minecraft or Terraria or any of those kind of games. So this was kind of like an introduction to that.
Mm-hmm.
It was super fun.
Yeah, I know for you too. I think, yeah, I'm not saying like this is not like a critique on you or anything. Just more like when it comes, you're not like into those kind of retro style games as much.
Well, so for me, I don't have an imagination, and as I guess it may be embarrassing as to say, like I know you, like for instance, made like what is it, the chemistry, the table of elements, and all kinds of crazy shit on Minecraft.
Yeah.
Me, I don't. Like I see all, and it kind of pisses me off because I see all the amazing shit that people do, like for instance in GTA Online or whatever, and all, they come up with all this shit, and I just don't have that imagination. I'm very, I guess, right brain.
No, yeah, I get you. It's a struggle with those kind of things. I don't know. I guess because I don't know. It's probably just something innate in our brains where we're just like, like you said, you just prefer this certain kind of style. And me, it's like I'm more open to this. It's like how you like point and click adventure games, and I'm just not about that. It's just that. It's a preference.
Yeah, and I think it was also a good balance because I think, at least in my eyes, you're more creative, and I'm like more. What's the word? Like I'm more like I need something to do. Like okay, like objective based kind of stuff. I guess maybe that's why I like those point and click games. So it's kind of a good mix of this creative and then directive kind of based people like together.
Yeah, like it's kind of vague, but it's not to the point where it's like, all right, you figure it out, everything out on your own. Like you have a pretty good like template of what needs to be done, and then enough like mystery to go like, all right, we didn't know we needed to go into this cave to like find shit, but we just figured like there's probably something in here we need to get.
I mean, we already got a badass tree shack, and we're already drinking water out of a turtle carapace.
Exactly. We just figured like, all right, it's straightforward enough. We should make a shelter. We should build a fire. We should try to hunt for food and stuff, and then kind of like, all right, exactly. Just kind of like, all right, we should explore it because I'm sure that's how you advance. I agree. Yeah, it's a good balance. It's not just like, to the point where it's like, all right, you make the game. It's more like here's the game and try your best to figure it out.
And speaking of I guess the storyline, man, his kid looks like Sid, like you said yesterday. He has a receding hairline.
Looks a lot like Sid.
Yeah.
So like that. That's great. Yeah, and coming with that too, yeah, because I bought a lot more retro games, PS2 and PS3, not only for collection purposes, but like as an investment at this point. It's a business expense, in case like, hey, we should try this game. It's like, cool, got it. Let's do that.
Hell yeah. Did you manage to find the Scarface games?
I haven't. So hopefully I can find that because I'm looking for the Scarface games. Obviously, and another one I want to try to find is the Godfather game.
Yes,
That's a classic one.
really is.
I was gonna say it's mostly been PS3 games I've been finding because those are much easier to find. So
Yeah,
like it's like I got Max Payne 3. That's one of my favorites. I know that's one of your favorites, and I'm pretty sure that's a series we want to revisit. I got
for
like the
sure.
God of War collection. That'll be easy to do again. Um, I got a fun game. I got this to play with my girlfriend Alyssa. Was the Lego Star Wars games.
On PS3.
hmm
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, because I got her into Star Wars, and I was like, okay, this is a nice. She's not super into games, but like she knows enough to like play and stuff. So like, this is a good like little intro cooperative game. It's laid back. It's not like heavy, nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's we can sit back and just kind of enjoy it.
And
Uh,
so,
oh yeah.
so
Mhm.
speaking of girlfriends playing, I bought the that House of the Dead kind of light shooter game for PS3, and
Mhm.
me and Evelyn have kind of been playing that.
Oh,
Uh,
how's that been
it,
going?
it's pretty fun, man. So what happened was we would go to like that arcade place you went for your birthday, or to Dave and Buster's and do those light gun shooting games. They have this really badass
Good. Yeah.
Walking Dead one, and that kind of got her, because she's not into video games really at all.
hmm
And when she started playing that, she really enjoyed herself. So I went and picked up a couple of peripherals just so we could have some I guess another kind of thing to bond over.
Yeah, of
And
course.
yeah, we've been having fun with that for sure, man. And it's cool to have something at your house that's like an arcade game, like those. The House of the Dead, like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just cool. It's fun.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so so as far as classics, you said you got Max Payne 3, Nams, Shell Shock,
Yes,
and
got Shell Shock,
Psyops. Okay.
Psyops. I, I have let's see what else. I know there's a couple other ones I just got recently. Okay, yeah. I got Midnight Club 3 dub
Okay.
remix.
Hell
That's
yeah.
like that's yeah. Me and my
Dude,
brother play it all
that's
the time. Fucking love that game.
yeah, and another good one is that Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2.
Yeah, we
That's
never got into Need for
classic.
Speed, but I know you're about that.
Well, I love Dub Edition, but I also like those. Me and my older stepbrother, we would play those like, and I actually went and bought that in Hot Pursuit, that Need for Speed 2 Hot
Yeah.
Pursuit. Yeah, dude, that is just
I remember
top of my.
yeah, I would say I remember you playing that specifically when I had the flu because I never had the flu before. And so you're playing that game. I'm like next to you on the floor, just writhing in pain. You're trying to show me this. I'm just like, that looks so cool. Because I just like I want to die. But like it was fun. I just couldn't get into it because I was just dying.
Yeah, well, you got to come over again because I bought those. I bought also two wireless PS2 controllers, which makes the
Hmm.
experience so much better. So you can actually, you
Yeah.
don't have to be right up on your TV. Man, and so another thing, I mean, what all have you been playing this week? Have you been playing anything, any of those, or anything really?
Yeah, so those I've been like, I tried out just to make sure they work, obviously. Played a little bit, like a level or two or a race or two, things like that. I've been mostly been messing with my PC. The main one has been Fallout 3. I've had it like,
Okay.
I've gotten like mods on it, mostly for like just stability purposes, and a couple of like, adding like very small side missions or like new content, even adding like I know one of the main ones is like adding like maybe like what's it called removed content and then putting it back in.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing that we've done is another one is I thought was pretty cool is adding in kind of like the background soundtrack or the soundtrack from the first two games into the third one
hmm
just to give it a little variety and that's pretty cool too because it gives it a little more life and it's still like it fits in well.
So you just access that through your Pip Boy, like a radio station or something?
I know, yeah, they've added I haven't installed this mod yet, but like there's one where like it adds like 50 or 60 new songs from the era that could like fit perfectly into there, so you're not listening to like the same 10 songs, even if they are great.
Yeah, yeah.
One too that the best one of my favorite ones is that it's a mod that removes like the green tint from the game.
Okay, yeah.
Because even
Uh,
though that's something I really remember well, I do have a nostalgic feeling for that
mhm.
green tent. Having like compared it, like had like loading into a certain part with it on and with it removed, dude, it looks way better without the green tint. It looks
It,
beautiful. Looks
it
good.
makes me wonder because certain games have a tint to them. Like for instance,
Hmm.
New Vegas had an orange tint to it, right?
Kind of an orange tint, but it wasn't like obscene. Fallout 3 has an obscene green tint
Yeah.
to it.
What's like a green gray? It's like a real gray urban kind
Hmm.
of.
And I
I
and
guess
I
not. Yeah.
and I get what they were going for. It's kind of like it's
Uh-huh.
still like the nuclear fallout and stuff like that, but as far as just aesthetically speaking, it's just way better without it. Like I said, it's nice playing the game and having it. I've only had one crash on it since I've
Okay.
been
Cool.
playing it, and I've been playing on it maybe. Well, I've had multiple crashes, but that's only because I like installed a mod that wasn't really compatible, and then once I removed that, I've only had like one crash. It wasn't even a hard crash. It was just like the game stopped, and then I was able to just load it back in. It's not like I had to like restart my computer or nothing.
Okay, see, I'm gonna have you come over and try to help me hook that up because I've been wanting to get. So I downloaded an EMB for GTA 4,
Yeah,
and that I mean, it looked nice, but the streets were like turning invisible and all kinds of crazy shit. I fucked up somewhere. I'm not sure where.
yeah, it's tricky. Like I'm still figuring out. I'm not like I'm not well versed in computers, but for the most part, they're pretty good. Putting the instructions on where you download the mods. Like obviously there's still bugs in there. Like I remember I was like walking to a vault and like in the middle of nowhere, like I there was like a deathclaw nest, and the deathclaw there, it was kind of like glitching out in the ground, and it just fucking flew up into the sky. I'm like, well, I'm okay with that because I don't want to deal with it. And it was more of a funny glitch. It like take. I mean, obviously it took me out of the game, but it wasn't like game breaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was more like that's funny, maybe a little slightly annoying, but it's okay because I just don't want to deal with that right now. It's not like there was like it was part of the main mission. It's like, oh, this was super intense, and then it happened. That would have sucked. It was more like random encounter. Like, oh well, that's okay.
Yeah. So.
I was gonna say, but well, yeah, like I said, I've been mainly doing that. Like I said,
Mhm.
making sure that it worked. I'm probably like, God, I'm probably like 40, probably close to 40 hours again. I'm falling back into that thing where in high school where it's like when I played it for the first time, like my mom had to come to my room and
Yeah,
ask me
yeah.
like, "Have you eaten, Mijo?" I'm like, "Oh, I haven't," and she's like, "You should eat." I'm like, "Okay, well," like I'm getting to that where it's like I'm getting tunnel vision. I just want to play this game. Um, I
Hell
know,
yeah.
yeah, and like I said, I've been kind of focusing on that. I know for you, you actually got the very exciting. You actually got the GTA Definitive Edition.
Yes, I did get the
So
dumpster fire. That is the GTA Definitive Edition.
please tell.
Okay, so my goal was to obviously relive my childhood. So I was gonna play them order. I'm gonna beat GTA 3, then Vice City, then San Andreas. So right now I'm stuck on GTA 3. Well, I'm not stuck, but that's what I'm playing, and it just kind of So from what I understand, GTA San Andreas is the one with the worst amount of glitches and bugs and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I will say there are some issues with three. I mean, from one, the character models, some of the people like Misty. I don't know if you kind of remember that prostitute that would hang out with that mechanic.
The
They,
redhead.
yeah, she never.
Yeah.
They didn't fix her face. Uh, one of
I
the
saw. I think I saw a screenshot. She looked like a fucking hunchback.
yeah, and then Asuka, the Asian chick. Uh, Her face just looked off. I don't know. I don't know if they just got the proportions wrong or the angling or something, but it was just messed up. I'm kind of sick too. Sorry, but
You're all good, man.
uh,
If you're sick, I'm mildly drunk. We got this.
hell yeah. But and then one thing I noticed is that some of the textures, like really up close, like the bricks look really amazing, but everything
Yeah.
is just too square. You know that old school where they like made a square like a fucking Egyptian fucking would be proud of this square block that they made.
Yeah.
And so it still has that, but then they threw this really detailed, brick texture over it.
Hmm.
So that looks really good. It was and then also like some of the things like on the ground,
Hmm.
like you'll have leaves or something and they'll be puffed up like 3 feet in the air floating like
Hmm.
leaves and shit. Uh which I'm not sure if that was exactly something like an issue with the original game, but
Yeah.
I finally had, so all those things. I mean, I kind of knew this was gonna happen, so it didn't really
Right.
bother me. I mean, I know some people are like really super pissed off, but it just didn't really bother me that
Hmm.
much. But one thing that fucking pissed me off to no end is, so there's a mission where you're doing, I think Asuka, like her brother. He's like this asshole Yakuza guy, and he's like,
Hmm.
"Hey, you got to steal these 3 cars for my honor because I rang up a huge debt, and this will erase my debt because I'm
Yeah.
a gambling addict." So, if you get any scratches on the vehicle,
Oh, I think I remember this.
yeah, so you got to take it to the paint spray, which is luckily is right next to where the garage that you got to put the vehicle in, anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that, and a couple of times that garage door wouldn't open. Well, this is a time mission. You have 6 minutes to get
Oh.
3 cars. So that means 2 minutes per car.
Yeesh.
And so I get the last car. I blaze through it. I have 1 minute.
Yeah.
I went to the paint spray, sprayed it, perfect. Went to the fucking garage
Yeah.
and waited for it to open. It wouldn't open. So I was like, well, maybe it's a glitch and it just didn't do the animation. Ran into it, messed up the car, had to do the paint and spray again. And
Yeah.
I just kept on doing that until the time ran out.
Oh.
The door would not open, so I just turned off the game and let it, I
Yeah.
guess, soak for 2 days and got back on, and I beat that mission. I played a couple of
Okay.
others, but it was just so frustrating. And I don't know if that was necessarily a glitch left over from the original, like if that would
Right.
happen in the original where these garage doors wouldn't open. But that's like, okay, so if that's a glitch from the original, this is supposed to be the definitive edition.
Hmm.
Why is this not fixed? Why didn't you do, better things? Why didn't you make the game better?
Right.
I could deal with them taking songs out because I know for a lot of people, like for instance, Vice City, like the music was just
I guess I think what you were saying. I 100% get why you can't have all the songs there because like the music industry is just they're a bunch of fucking cunts.
but at the same time, you're
But at
like
the same
rock
time,
star.
you have the money.
Yeah, you're just being a dickhead.
Yeah, like that's what 10% of what you at tops 10% of what you made from GTA 5 online. You got the money.
Yeah, but then multiply that times 40 because it was like 40 songs they chopped. I think over
Really,
the,
that much?
if I'm not mistaken, I might be spreading lies. I'm not
Right.
sure. I'm not sure. So allegedly.
Okay, let's go with that. Allegedly.
So yeah, so that I've been playing that, and so I haven't even touched Vice City or San Andreas, and I will say 3 also suffers from this issue that San Andreas has of like milky rain.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I've heard of that.
yeah, where it's just the rain's so thick it kind of fucks with your vision a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, it's not as bad as they're talking about in San Andreas, so I would assume it's similar. And then one
Yeah.
thing that kind of disappointed me, I was hoping maybe, I don't know why, I was hoping that maybe they would update the physics and put like maybe the natural motion physics in there,
Yeah.
and they did not. So it's that same where like you hit someone, they just lay flat, like fucking,
Yeah.
kind of.
I think when you first told me about this these remakes and you sent me the trailer for it. I'm not going to go into like the whole misleading, what could have been misleading about it or anything. Just more of like what it presented, like the aesthetic and stuff. It obviously didn't go for like a photorealistic vibe. It was more of like this is still like we still want to keep like the old GTA, aesthetic, but have it I guess smoothed out essentially.
Yeah.
I was fine with that. I can understand definitely why some people would be like, oh, that's disappointing because you want it, more like maybe at least like GTA 4. I get that, but also,
Right.
like that's I think what especially gamers our age, we like the old GT games for that. They're kind of wonky, they're wacky, cartoony, basically arcadey. And so to have that kind of like just smooth down stuff, like okay, that's fine. It does look better in some cases.
But to me,
And
like that coating of paint they gave it
mhm.
kind of made it look like the way I thought of it as a kid. Like it made it look cool, just it didn't change the style to me. The style still is the same. There's just cartoonish look. There's just a couple of extra shadows, a couple of extra, reflective surfaces, and the
Yeah,
lighting's a little better.
yeah, yeah. I'd agree. Like it's basically what I would expect from it. Like
Yeah.
if I envisioned it when I was little, like because obviously I could tell like these aren't what real people look like, but you can kind of get the gist of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think what it's more disappointing is like you said, like there's certain if bugs carry over. Excuse
Yeah.
me, if bugs carry over, bugs and glitches will always be a part of games. Even the most well-made game is gonna have those kind of
Yeah.
issues. It's just more of like as long as it's not like game breaking, as long as it's not like it just takes you out of the moment. Like you said, like that mission one, that's a bad one. But something like
Yeah. That killed me.
kind of like what I said before, like oh this in a random encounter, this NPC just flew up in the air and that happened. I think that's forgivable. Maybe it does take you out. It affects the immersion, but it's not like unforgivable. It's more of those like hey that's kind of funny and that's it. You can move on from it.
Yeah, so that's really the biggest issue I've had with it. Um, but besides playing GTA like that, I also have been replaying GTA 4. I kind of was like, well, let me see what this first, because GTA 4 is a really big step up from GTA San Andreas. Like,
Yeah, that went up. That went into the more photorealistic,
yeah,
I
for
guess,
sure.
genre. It was a
And it
huge difference.
also, yeah, and also, I mean, just the tonally, it was just totally different. But it still kept that nice satirical look at, I guess, New York or America.
Yeah.
Um,
Was it on your PS3 you were playing it on?
yeah, so I have it on
Okay.
PC, but I've been playing on my PS3, and I will say, Jesus, man, those physics make everything so much heavier. The cars are sliding around. They're just like, it's like you're driving a fucking boat. In the streets. And then Nico's movements. It's like he's got these weights tied to his arms and his legs, and,
Yeah.
and everything takes a little bit for him to shift over shift from your left to your right. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
because even GTA 5, the shooting mechanics aren't like the best, but that GTA 4 is fucking rough. And then the lock on, like, it's a whole mess. But I've been playing that, and I really have been enjoying that. I'm where you meet Elizabetha.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so it's
Um,
starting to pick up now.
yeah. So like with having played that and with your limited experience with the definitive edition, mainly just GTA 3, does it kind of worry you that maybe Rockstar will fuck up to GTA 4 remaster potentially?
Yeah, because it seems like these companies feel like they're too big to really feel the effect or to really have to listen. There's a lot of lip service, but that's as far as their "I'm sorry" goes. Um,
It's kind of like that BP oil, we're sorry kind of deal.
yeah, yeah. No, let's go spill some more oil in the ocean. Yeah, so I just feel like it might just be lip service, but I'm hoping. I mean, it's a real big hope that
Mhm.
if they do this remaster, that they really put some TLC in it, because
Mhm.
so I know, like, in the definitive edition, they used a lot of AI to upres all these textures and everything.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Well, I don't think they'll have to do that for GTA 4, because it's already pretty, upresed.
Hmm.
You know, I don't
And
know.
it, and I feel like that would be more difficult for the AI to do because at least with the excuse you could use for those old games is that it's cartoony, so it's like
Yeah,
it'd
yeah.
probably be easier to do. But with GTA 4, like we just said, it's more realistic, so an AI would have a lot more difficulty trying to just upgrade that with like no human assistance.
Yeah. And I don't know why this popped into my mind, but when we're talking about PS3 great games or whatever,
Mm.
I called the game Brothers in Arms. I called it Band of Brothers. That is to make this correction. I meant Brothers in Arms. I don't know why that popped into my
I feel like Band of
intoxicated head. Yeah,
is
so
that a show?
yeah, Band of Brothers is an HBO show that follows the Eastern Front of World War II. Really great show. But yeah, I mean it is similar to.
I was gonna say that seems like
yeah.
it's an honest mistake to make. It's similar.
Yeah, it is similar, but I listened to the episodes after they get published, and yeah, I'm just like, oh fuck.
No, I get you. He used to make that small mistake. You're like, oh, you idiot.
Yeah.
No, that's understandable. So I kind of like on this topic of like remakes and remasters. Do you feel like maybe publishers or like developers are kind of like over relying on them, or do you think like it's kind of like maybe it's just kind of the time period we live in now where like the technology has advanced so much that it kind of just gives us a valid reason to like try to revisit these classics, or is it just more of like it's much easier to do this than just come up with a new game, so let's just slap this on?
I feel like it's a little bit of a mix of all that. I feel like a lot of people like have been hurting for some of these remasters. Really wanted to reintroduce these games to maybe a younger generation.
Right.
Like for instance, I don't know how many kids would look at GTA San Andreas or GTA 3 and be like, "Yeah, this is doable. This is fun." I feel like a lot of them, first of all, might not even get past the looks, and then the controls would just be a whole nother fucking story.
Yes, that is actually that's probably the biggest thing of any remake or remaster is the controls.
What's sad is the cars in GTA 3 handle better than the cars in fucking GTA 4.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's quite a bit easier. And then don't get me started on driving a motorcycle in GTA 4.
Oh, I remember.
You're like a missile. I mean, yeah, especially if you're driving on the highway and you fly off of
I was gonna say
highway. Yeah,
you're like a missile on ice.
Yeah, I hate dealing with the Lost, the motorcycle gang. I don't even know if I want to, because I have the DLC, the story DLC. I don't even know if I want to do it now. It's just gonna be a fucking. It's really bad. I feel like that's I could have toned down the physics on that big time. But yeah, I mean, so that's kind of really what I've been doing, and then I bought a couple of PC games. I've been playing this game called starts with a T, Teardown, and it's a voxel-based game. If anybody doesn't know what voxels are, it's basically instead of like polygons, it's these it's like kind of like a polygon, but maybe it's a hexagon or something. And you make it's like these in the engine, everything's fully destructible. It's like you're making it's like you can tear these little hexagons apart from each other. And it makes for some really cool effects. And basically in this game, you got to break into places and find stuff. And so the destroying the place is just fun. Like you could just tear a place down from top to bottom. And it has this nice, maybe almost high res Minecraft look to it. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
I've been doing that. I've been playing that visceral cleanup detail by myself. Like I said, man, it's just kind of soothing cleaning up after a horrible accident.
No, I get you. Yeah, it's one of those things you can kind of just turn your brain off, but still have a good time with.
Yeah. You can kind of like that truck simulator that people play.
Yeah.
Where you can just turn your brain off. If you're into podcasts like ours. Which, speaking of that, we now have an email address, to Unrelated Brothers at gmail.com, all lowercase. So if you have any ideas or questions or, suggestions, constructive criticisms.
Yeah, if you say we suck ass, by all means, if you say that, we're all for it. Just give us a reason why. That's it.
Yeah, tell us why. Hey, you guys are fucking boring, or I don't know, you sound like I don't know, methods. I don't fucking know.
Well, I
But
mean, if you just hate the way we sound, I mean, sorry, that's just our voices.
yeah, you can't really
But if
change
somebody,
that.
yeah, like, oh, I hate the way you structure things. Okay, please tell us how, and we'll take that to heart.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
We're big
but
boys.
again, yeah, we are big boys, and we do. This is a hobby for us, but I feel like both of us, we take pride in our work, whether it be a hobby or whatever. Um, so if you do have any ideas on or any constructive criticisms, just give us a little email and let us know.
Yeah, or if maybe you want a game maybe that you don't see reviewed a lot. We'll try our best. We don't always. We just want to do like the popular games. We kind of want, like I said, we kind of want to do those old PS2 classics, or even PS1, just whatever we can find.
Yeah. We've been finding a lot of luck with PS2 games. So if you want to see one reviewed, yeah, shoot us an email and we'll do our best to try to get through it and make an episode out of it. I'm pretty sure everybody would enjoy that. As you're toiling away at work or just chilling, maybe playing a video game yourself.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. So this is so with all that, I think probably the biggest thing, and I know this is probably the biggest news as far as recently with the is the the remakes and remasters, and I guess with all this negative news with the definitive edition, it's kind of got me worried a bit about other games that will be remade or remastered, because there have been some good ones that have come out.
Yeah.
Like Destroy All Humans is fun. What's another one? I know people have been enjoying the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect. I haven't personally tried it, but I know it's gone.
Wait, did they remake all of them
The first three, 1, 2, and 3.
on PS4?
I want to say so.
I want to
Maybe
get that.
maybe even PS5. Don't quote me on that, but I know on PC and people have been enjoying that, and
Okay.
that's kind of like resurrected the Mass Effect series. But it's kind of got me worried too. Like this new of series we just talked about. This Dead Space remake looks really good, but because it's EA, and then given what's happened with Rockstar, the definitive edition is like, God damn it, just don't fuck this up. It's like when it comes to like specifically remakes, and I guess more specifically the Dead Space one, what do you expect from it? What would you want from it, and what do you not want from it? Whether it's like fixing certain things, adding new content, or just maybe leaving it as close to the original as possible.
I would like for them to maybe add some of the weapons that we're seeing in Dead Space 2. But at the same time, I don't want to see them nerf the plasma cutter.
Yeah.
Obviously, better graphics, maybe better dismemberment mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Like I know one. I think they will have that. I know they showed that off. Another thing I do like is that they're giving Isaac more voice lines. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe to flesh out some of the unitology, and kind of like I think you said this was confirmed. They're going to talk more about. He's going to talk more about Nicole. Like he's actually looking for Nicole.
Yes.
And kind of drop lines like, oh, where's whatever, and that would be cool because like that game, the first one it didn't really seem like. It seemed like she was just an afterthought at the end of the day.
It did until the very end where it reveals like she was dead.
Yeah, so that would be cool. Even if it just looked way better, and they upgraded the dismemberment system, I think I'd be pretty happy with that. As long as they don't taint it with like fucking weed smoke armor for $20 like they did Call of Duty or whatever.
Oh, so like basically microtransactions.
Yeah, because it's EA and EA just has such a
exactly. That's the kind of I'm afraid of too. Like it's one of those like you don't need to, but it's like well, yeah, you don't need to, but why do it?
Yeah, I just feel like they could fuck up Wet Dream, and I just don't. I don't know.
Like if you're gonna, yeah, I think I hope so too. Obviously they say the right things at first, but the closer you get to it, it's like, this doesn't look good. Hoping for the
Yeah.
best. Obviously, it does look like they really are putting their love into it, but that never stops a publisher from fucking it up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess on a similar topic, what would you say is like for you? What's like the difference between a remake and a remaster?
I think we kind of went over this a little bit on one of our previous episodes. To me, a remake is like kind of what they're doing with what they did with Mafia 1. Like they couldn't just reuse these old PS2 graphics. They totally remade and booted these things. They had probably had to re-record mods, re-record certain actions and weapon sounds, car sounds, all this shit. Like they're not even using the original models, but they're using those original models as inspiration for these new high fidelity models.
Yeah.
To me, that's definitely a remake, whereas a remaster is like what they did with The Last of Us, where they took these high res skins that they had already had, but that the PS3 was not powerful enough to I guess use, except for in the cutscenes. And then they utilized those, so the whole game just looked like cutscenes. To me, that's kind of a remaster.
No, I was gonna say, that's a pretty good example of it. I think it probably has a lot to do with like the time when the game came out.
Yeah, because they came out within 3 years of each other,
something like that.
And if I'm not mistaken, Naughty Dog had already said that, hey, we already had these high res textures. The PlayStation was just not powerful enough to utilize them at the time.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It pretty much controlled the same. No, nothing really new was added. It was just more like you said, fresh, looked a little sleeker, and then ran smoother.
Yeah, and then they kind of used they added the DLC, which was cool.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I played the DLC. You know what? I did play the DLC on PS3, but it was just a cool little reminder, a little extra piece of Ellie that you may have forgotten about.
Do you have like any games you think you'd like to see a remaster or remake of that hasn't happened already or hasn't been confirmed, not even rumors?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's plenty for instance, on the PS2, like we talked about earlier, PsyOps, a remake or even like a spin-off or whatever, that would be fucking phenomenal. Shell Shock NAB 67, that like the one that you just got would be great. A Punisher, because I know they tried to do something with Punisher on PS3, but it was like an online shooter. I'm talking about a story-based Punisher. Like on PS2, that would be freaking cool. Maybe an open world kind of superhero game, kind of like Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Oh yeah,
of that. That was super fun. Just fucking destroying everything, which I have. If they went back and finished off Silent Hills, because I understand they were pretty close to that. That would have been something. That'd be something to marvel at for sure. But at the same time, like, I just don't want Kojima to go back to those guys and then they just totally, mistreat him. He deserves respect.
Yeah, even if you don't like him, if you don't like his work or something, I mean, he definitely, deserves to be like, treated as I think an influential creator, especially with what he's given to Konami.
Oh yeah, and for them to just what they did to him is just bullshit. So I wouldn't even want him to go back. But at the same time, it's like, well, fuck, I would like Silent Hills.
Exactly. It's one of those like, catch-22 things.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. What about you? I mean, is there anything that really you're like, man, I would like, this is just so bad playing it now. I wish they could redo it.
Yeah, well, you kind of brought it up. I mean, it's happened. They've come out with remasters of it, and that's the Metal Gear Solid, HD collection. But I would like, actual remakes of the game, especially Metal Gear Solid 1. I love that game to death, but God, like, especially with Metal Gear Solid 4, seeing like what it could have looked like. It's like, I want this whole game like that now. And that is definitely like my top one on my wish list for remakes.
Do you think that could happen? I mean, because Konami seems to be totally disinterested in making anything new.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they could start like, oh, we need some funds. Okay, well, let's fucking remaster Pachinko Machine MGS3.
Yeah, that's always yeah. I mean, you always hear rumors about it, but
Yeah.
especially with Konami, that's a bucket of salt. You gotta take that with. Like I've heard things like they're trying to like licenses out, like they own the series still, but they're open to like third party studios developing the games. And because of that, Kojima Studio has been linked to that and the Silent Hill series. I'm not holding my breath on it, but hey, man, if it's as long as they don't develop it, I'm open for it. Like especially if it's like Kojima Productions, if they like somehow they'll probably charge them a shit ton of money for them to do it, but like if that would happen, I'm like I'm all for it. I'm down.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've played. I mean, even MGS4. I mean, even 5. To be honest, I never even beat 5. But it's just
Yeah.
been quite a while.
I guess what other games? Kind of like you said, like Punisher would be great. That's probably not gonna happen though.
And no, probably not.
Yeah, but just wish list like the first and second OG Battlefronts. I'd love to have those remade with like the graphics. As much as I don't like the ones they recently made, Battlefront 1 and 2.
They're beautiful though.
They're beautiful. They're fucking gorgeous. I cannot take that away. They're buggy, but they're beautiful. So to have that with the first two games, holy shit, I'd always play that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the telemetry, I believe, is like kind of the method they used for like the rocks and stuff. Really looked like it gave them some substance in the environments. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful.
I guess another ones would be like the first two Max Payne games, even Max Payne 3 at this point. I'd love to have those remade, especially with the way the third one was handled with those graphics and the control scheme and stuff. That I think that worked really well.
Yeah, if they did do a remaster, though, I would definitely like for the Portuguese subtitles, because even to this day, I can't find a breakdown of what they're saying in Portuguese, and it fucking kills me. Because it's
Really?
like, but it's part of the story, though, because you got to think about it. They're telling you the plot right in fucking front of you, and you don't know because you don't speak the language. Just like Max Payne doesn't know because he doesn't speak the language.
I was gonna say, do you think that's maybe by design?
Yeah, but yeah, it has to be. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, well, fuck, like, I want to know, like, when did they, like, how early did they tell you the entire plot? Like, was this episode 2 and these two thugs are just smoking a joint talking about fucking, human trafficking and this fucking asshole named Max Payne, like, I don't know. That would just be cool.
No, yeah, for sure. Let's see. I just the games I just bought, Midnight Club. That's fucking something I would love to see. I'm even big into racing games, but I'd love to see something like that. What else? What else? I mean, those are the main ones. Like I said, Metal Gear Solid is like I could go on days about that. That's definitely one. Shit, even Fallout 3. Even if that was made to look like Fallout 4, that's still a huge ass upgrade. I'd be down for that. Same thing with New Vegas.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you said. Like,
do a good job though.
That's true. Yeah, I know. Like they're working. I think they're still working. Like on making New Vegas in the Fallout 4 engine.
Ooh,
and that looks. Yeah, I'm saying that looks fantastic. Yeah, kind of like what you said. I mean, if I looked into my PS2 collection, there'd be an obscene amount of games I could look and go, yep, remaster or remake. Like you said, a bunch of those first-person shooter games. Like you said, Area 51 remade. Hell yeah, please give that a fresh coat of paint and just make it playable.
They made a second one called Area 51 Black Site for PlayStation 3.
I did see that. I did not hear anything really good about it.
Yeah, I had it and I beat it as a kid. It was okay. I was easily impressed as a 11-year-old or 12-year-old, whatever.
If only we had those same expectations, which is, I'm sure, what the game companies think as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, shit, Medal of Honor Frontline. Like imagine that, and like looking like a battlefield. D-Day Battlefield graphics.
That would be pretty cool.
I mean,
Speaking of
I'd get PTSD.
well, that Battlefield 2042 just came out, did it not?
I did, and
I
I've
hear
heard
it's a mess.
Yeah, I've seen like little clips of it. It's just like, you know,
And
they will never learn, but also maybe they don't want to learn because, fuck, it's like it's sold so much.
yeah, and Call of Duty Vanguard came out as well. Do you ever think you're going to get into a yearly series again, like for instance, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Battlefield? I mean, do you ever think there's a chance that you might get back into these games?
Let me think. Probably not. Like the closest one I can think of is the sports games with the baseball.
Yeah.
That's about it. And even then, I don't do it. Like, I don't even get it like right when it comes out. I usually wait like a few months, and it's like $30. I'm like, okay, so in that sense, I am into it, but it's not like, okay, I'm gonna get it as soon as it comes out. Yeah,
I see that.
I think the last one, it was Call of Duty, and that was like 10 years ago. Maybe Assassin's Creed was the last one I was into as far as yearly. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's there's just so many games now towards like, if I want to sink my teeth into something, it's gonna have to be something very different, or at least enough new content for it to warrant me to like sink 40 hours into it.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I just at the same time, we're talking about all these old games. Are there any new game concepts that maybe you would be like, hey man, this would be really cool if this was a game? Like this is something totally, maybe not necessarily new, but something that you would like to see maybe.
I don't know. That's actually tough because especially now in almost any form of media, you kind of think, what is there left to do as far as originality goes? I mean, there always is. You just need to put like your little twist on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really tough. Like they always come up with something like I wouldn't say super original, but like one of the newer IPs I got into was Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's a post-apocalyptic robot dinosaurs kind of deal. Kind of, that's very much being broad with it, but it doesn't seem like something super original. It's kind of not, but I think it does enough with its world to like make it unique and make it its own. And it's like, all right, I am willing to play more of this. I want to play more of this. That's probably the most recent example. Or like Ghost of Tsushima, feudal Japan, not necessarily original, but the way they did it is gorgeous, and it's like I want more of that too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as like original, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I guess the closest one would have been like what they're kind of doing with PT as far as horror games go, kind of like kind of breaking the fourth wall. Again, that's not new either, especially in horror games. But just how like obscene and gross it was, like just basically saying like, fuck these limits, we're going past it. That's kind of what I would have wanted from that. That's about the best thing I come up with. What about you? Do you think there's something that hasn't really been, that's kind of like left untapped for you?
Man, I think so. Like for instance, certain wars that just haven't really been explored too much, like for instance Vietnam or the Korean War, or
Korean War is really good.
Or even some like historical, I guess, events.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, shit. Like imagine being a CIA guy during the Bay of Pigs, because basically Kennedy fucking backed out of that last minute and left a whole group of rebels to die.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be cool if like maybe you're a CIA operative in there and all of a sudden you get the call, hey, you're on your own, bud.
Mm-hmm.
And now you gotta find a way how to get back, undetected into the U.S. or even maybe an alternative route. You gotta overthrow Cuba. Just something like that would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you know this, but there was actually a game that was like the JFK files, where the whole purpose of this game was to pull off the most historically accurate shot on JFK. Yes, yes, yes. And they were giving I believe, a $10,000 reward, which I don't think has ever been given. So yeah, like I don't know. I just believe that there's so many untapped historical events. It'd be cool, like maybe a game that starts off in Roswell, New Mexico, and you're a military, soldier, and you see the flying saucer come, boom, hit the ground, and you go to investigate it, and the alien touches you, and all of a sudden you got these powers. I mean, it's just something which I guess, like you said, there's been so many iterations of different media that nothing we really say is going to be too maybe original.
Right.
I'm also just down for a walking simulator with maybe a nice spin on it. Like I said many times, I love the Life is Strange series. I love
Right.
the Walking Dead Telltale series. I love Wolf Among Us, the Borderlands, Telltale, like all these, just something with a good storyline. And it'd be cool if you could have two people, like a co-op one, kind of like that game Get a Way Out or something, where it's like,
Yeah.
like something like that, where you have two friends that are going towards the same goal, or maybe not. Like maybe you just got a dickhead friend that's like, nah, I don't want to go that route. Um, those kind of things would be really cool. But yeah, like I said, I think there's just so much that has been explored. That I don't know. Like maybe I mean, this may be controversial, but a game where you're playing from maybe a historical enemy's perspective. I mean, imagine playing as a Viet Cong, or I mean, even a Nazi. That would
Yeah,
be.
no, no, yeah, you're right. I think that would be interesting, but some people are just too sensitive. Like I remember, what was it? How the first Medal of Honor game when they're trying to reboot it, where like you just online you play as the Taliban and people are like
Yeah,
being pissy about it.
yeah. I think PX has stopped selling the game. Yeah, because I think the second one came out around the time I was still in,
Hmm.
and people were, well, I mean, not anybody that I knew, but the game wasn't going to be sold on post or anything. So
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. Where it's like, yeah, it's just maybe now people could try it again. Maybe it's just because it's too recent. Like you said, maybe if it did something like Viet Cong, that could be doable because it was just so long ago. You can kind of like see it through more of a historical lens, whereas Taliban's more like that's still fresh on a lot of people's minds.
and see, the thing is even a lot of games still do that. Like a lot of RTSs, there are RTSs where you are playing as the enemy. You know.
Maybe it's because like there's not a story really behind it.
Yeah, well, I think there's stories, but they're not that personal kind of touch.
Right. It's kind of like if you got into like if they try to make you like I don't know like it was totally different like just for example like they made like you a serial killer and like they try to make you likable. I think that would be a little controversial.
Yeah, because I know there's like a Japanese game where you're like a fucking fondler on a subway, if I'm not mistaken, and
Hmm.
people weren't really happy about that, understandably.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because that was like, yeah, there was a game that I heard about a long time ago that seemed like it would be a cool little thing to play, and that I think it's called Damien, where you play as Lucian or what, like the kind of like the Omen boy. You play as him.
Gotcha.
And you're just like wreaking havoc on shit. That would be cool.
Yeah, like I think the ones you can get away with are like lighthearted ones, like Destroy All Humans. That's literally about destroying civilization, but because it's so like goofy and lighthearted, it's like who cares?
Yeah,
I feel like that's like the way to get away with it. But if you want to do something like you said, like like you play like you said as a Nazi or a Viet Cong, it's I think people just see it kind of like on a surface level, like you're just trying to make this okay. It's like it's not that. It's just more of like you can still accept that it's wrong and it's like bad. Obviously, just more of like they're people. They're not just these black and white monsters.
yeah. And not only that, I mean, a lot of people were conscripted. Like it would be crazy dance, for instance, to play as like maybe a Hitler Youth towards the end of the
Yeah.
war, where you're like a 12-year-old kid, but someone's starting to kill you and your family because you're not willing to fight for the Fuhrer or whatever. That would be an interesting little thing. Kind of like something, I guess, along the realms of that movie Jojo Rabbit.
I was gonna say that's kind of remind me of.
Like, that's super kind of a lighthearted look at the situation that was going on.
Of course.
Oh yeah, that movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Waki Tahiti's a great director.
Yeah, he's up there with he makes those zany movies kind of like Wes Anderson. Mm-hmm. To me, they kind of got a similar style.
Yeah, he's definitely got, he's a great writer. He's done that. Kind of off topic too. What We Do in the Shadows is fantastic as well.
Yeah, he plays the main vampire in that one, right?
Yeah, and then the show. I recommend the show as well. The fucking show is fantastic.
Okay, yeah, I love the movie. I never watched the show.
I recommend the show.
I'd check that out too. Yeah, New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah, God, I mean, I guess it's kind of one that it's weird, like how I feel like how in media, like some things you've got like way less sensitive, and in other things you've got more sensitive. I mean, that's par for the course, I guess, but like I feel like you should be able to like there's something that are taboo that really shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you did say that would be maybe a little interesting was being a serial killer. That would be like, oh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, because they've kind of, like I said, I don't know, because you see it in movies and like in shows a lot, like things like that, like Dexter or even like Bates Motel with like Norman Bates before Psycho. You kind of like make the serial killer the protagonist and likable, but I think it's because it's passive. You're not aiding him in that or her in that, what have you. Whereas in a video game, it's more like you are doing this, you are the perpetrator of these events. And I think it's a whole different feeling.
Yeah, I think the difference between video games and movies is that movies are definitely a more passive experience. You can't do anything to change those, where in video games you are actively doing completing an objective. And in the case of being a serial killer, you're actively going and stalking somebody and killing them or whatever. Mm-hmm. Versus watching Dexter, season 1, episode 2 is always going to be the same.
Yeah. Just kind of like you said, like in Taxi Driver, killing a pimp. Watching someone killing a pimp is much different than being in a video game and doing that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that I don't know, man. There's a lot of touchy subjects like that Fallujah game, 6 Days in Fallujah. Mm-hmm. People, they've been trying to get that made for fucking over a decade now, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they're still running into roadblocks. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I think I've heard of the name, but I just don't know what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about the Marines in Fallujah and some of their stories. I actually got with some of the people who were in Fallujah, and they're super psyched trying to make the game. And then a lot of people were like, "No, this was too soon, too real," blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. That kind of sucks. Those people kind of suck, especially if you got people who are like, "Hey, I was there. This is like maybe a form of therapy, or me. It's therapeutic for me to tell my story. Or I just want to tell my story." Or fuck, I went through this tragic thing. I want to make some money off of it. Whatever their goal is. I mean, if they were there, like, and you weren't, like fuck you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me I can't make this. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's just a weird thing.
I guess that kind of made me think of something that could be, I think maybe has been touched, I've talked about a lot, but maybe not in game form. Maybe about like the creation and if a game about maybe the creation and use of like the atom bombs, and like maybe the process of making it, and like obviously talking about like the pros and cons of it, and like if it's actually right or not to use it, where like it's potentially save lives, or it's just used as a a pure just as a tool of just pure destruction.
Yeah,
Kind of like trying to like put it in the more the point of view as like from the creators. Because I know obviously like I think it's probably like known now like a lot of them are like regret working on that.
yeah. Oppenheimer. He
I am become death.
yes, yes.
Maybe something like that. Maybe something similar to like with Call of Duty, where it's like you kind of like you're in ground zero. You see it happen. You kind of like witness that destruction. It's just kind of see like, but it's more like tragic and horrific. Something like that, maybe. I don't think that's really been touched upon in games.
Yeah, and Call of Duty has a couple of good, ground zero moments in their video games. Like, for instance, the first Modern Warfare, and then even in the reboot of Modern Warfare, where you play as one of the freedom fighters, and she's a little girl, and she's covered up in the rubble, and I think she's being held by her dead mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to get pulled out and run to her family, and her dad died. Like that, it was
you showed me that, I think.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, like I get why you don't want to always do that. I mean, those are heavy moments. They're pretty. Those are rough. Like even in movies, that's a tough thing to do. But I think like with AAA games, I get it why you don't want to do that. But you just take that dive. Sometimes I think it if you do it well, all it is like you've done something. People would just call you brave for doing it, even if it's not. It's just more like good for you for trying something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Man, do you have anything else?
I mean, I don't know. I guess like I said, we kind of just went into like a whole like kind of free form kind of deal. I guess how I'd want to end this is like, what games and series would you be interested in like reviewing in future episodes, whether it be like right away or just kind of like down the line.
Well, I know you picked up the Killzone series. That would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to get 3 because I do have 1 and 2, but I don't have 3, and I also have Shadowfall. So I have I have almost all of them. I don't have any of the PSP versions of the game. So.
Yeah, same.
But I do have 1, 2, and Shadowfall, and I know you have 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah. I had 2 and 3 for a bit. I finally was able to get my hands on 1.
I think Psyops would be a good one for sure. The Punisher.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you wanted to come over and like play a VR, the VR Walking Dead is really, really fun. It's boatloads of fun.
Yeah, like I'm open to like I know one thing you mentioned that I think was a good idea is games that we like a lot that the other person hasn't played and getting the other person to try them out. Whether it's like, a recent game or a game from our childhood, just to kind of like, hey, I like this game, I'm into this, even though this may not be your cup of tea, just try it out and, give your thoughts on it. I think that's a really good idea too. So like, for example, yours would be like, like the Walking Dead series. I'm not super into those kind of games, but if for an episode, I'd totally be down for trying it, and maybe it would change my mind on it.
Yeah, I mean either that or the Life is Strange. There's so many.
There's so many exactly. It's just, especially from my end as well. But I think that's a good one. Kind of like give the other person's tasting games a try. I think that's really good.
What would be one that you'd give me though?
It's a little tougher, I guess. That'll be more of like kind of like what you were telling me before, like the games where you kind of have to like create your own narrative or story or plot.
Mm-hmm.
So something like this one's very broad as well, but something like Minecraft, kind of like that does require a lot of imagination. Let me look at my list right now. Okay. See here. Man, I think you probably have more options with that than me for sure. I probably 1, 2 is even though I wasn't the biggest fan of it, I am curious to see what you would think about it. Is Psychonauts?
Okay, yeah,
I think that's a pretty interesting one.
That'd be a good one.
Or like games just to revisit again. I haven't played in a while. Like I know I have Far Cry 3. I'd be interested to try that again. The BioShock series, especially since I've never played Infinite.
Really? Okay,
I played Infinite. The most I played from is when I came over to your place to try it out, and I tried to fight fire with fire. That is my extent with the BioShock.
Yes, I remember fighting fire
Ooh,
with fire.
okay, I got another one because this is a classic as well. Black Mesa, which is a fan remake of the first Half-Life.
Hell yeah, I'd be willing to do that. I never played Half-Life or like System Shock or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I'd recommend Black Mesa because it's more modern. It's more modern. It is modern, and it looks nice. It handles nice. I think that'd be a great one as well.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with that, and that's really all I have, man. Do you have anything else?
That's about it right now. I think this is about as much as you can talk about without just
Like freeform.
yeah, people without like rambling and shit like that. I think with this, good just kind of talk about like some broad topics and, like I said, give us some ideas for what we could do with future episodes. Like I said, that's just a taste. There's obviously a crap ton of games we got that we could try out.
Oh yeah.
I think those are a pretty good start.
Definitely. Well, with that, man, I love you. I hope you have a good night and happy happy birthday. I gave you a happy birthday before. Now it's belated.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that, and we appreciate anyone listening, supporting as well. I gotta say, be safe, and yeah, bro, I love you too. You have a good night.
You too, man. Thanks, everybody.
All right.